In a remote valley in the northern Yukon, in a small wooden house at the edge of the forest, lived an old woman named Ella McGregor. She was 73 years old and had spent most of her life among these rolling hills, far from the noise of the big cities. People in the village said Ella was strange, rarely showing her face in society, living alone, talking to birds, and writing letters she never sent. But those who knew her better knew something else. Her heart was unusually warm and sensitive. One night, in the midst of a harsh winter, when the snow was knee-deep and the temperature had dropped below -40, Ella was awakened by a strange sound. The wind howled as if the forest itself were singing an ancient northern song. But among these sounds there was something unusual, as if someone was gently scratching at the door. The old woman pulled on a knitted shawl, took a kerosene lantern and went out into the hallway. Through the fogged glass in the door she saw a shadow, small but distinct. She opened the door and immediately shuddered in the icy wind. On her doorstep sat a fox, beautiful, with thick reddish-gray fur, covered in snow and frost. She did not move, only looked directly into the woman's eyes. Nearby, barely visible in the shroud of snow, lay 3 tiny foxes. One of them was barely moving. "Oh my God," Ella whispered, unable to believe her eyes. The fox didn't growl, didn't make any sudden movements. She just stared. And there was something in that gaze that Ella couldn't explain. Anxiety, pleading, trust. Ella made her decision instantly. She opened the door wider, stepped back inside, and gestured an invitation. The vixen didn't move, but lifted one fox cub by the scruff of its neck and placed it on the threshold. Ella carefully picked up the little one, carried it into the house, and laid it down by the fireplace, then took the other 2 in the same way. Only when all 3 were warm did the vixen carefully enter herself. She did not go mad with fear like a wild animal. She didn't dash around the room, nor did she sniff the cupboard. She lay down next to the fox cubs, carefully tucking them in beside her. Ella was surprised to notice how she sniffed each of the babies, gently licked their ears and pressed them against her belly, as if checking to see if they were all alive. The old woman warmed the milk and tried to give the babies a drink, using a small syringe from the medicine cabinet. One of the foxes moved, opened its eyes and squeaked softly. Ella felt a maternal-like feeling grow in her chest, though her own children had long since grown up and scattered around the world. In that moment she felt needed again. An hour passed, another. Outside, the wind was still roaring, the blizzard throwing snow against the glass as if it wanted to get inside. But the house was warm. The fire in the fireplace cast a soft glow. The foxes slept curled up, and the fox watched Ella with quiet attention. It was as if she realized that this woman had saved her children, and Ella felt that silent thanks. By morning, the blizzard had subsided. Sunlight began to break through the heavy clouds, illuminating the snow cover with a silvery sheen. The fox rose and gently nudged one of the foxes with her nose. It wiggled, then woke up. The others followed. The mother gathered them up, sniffed them, and suddenly approached Ella. The old woman stood at the window, holding a cup of warm potion. The fox came close, touched her hand with its cold nose and put his front paw on her leg. Ella sighed and said quietly, "I know. It's time. Take care of them." She opened the door. The fox, taking one fox by the scruff of the neck, stepped out into the blinding snow. The others followed her, stepping carefully across the threshold. Before disappearing into the woods, the fox turned once more, looked at Ella, and as if to nod slightly, Ella remained standing at the open door, not feeling the cold. She smiled, not with her lips, but with her whole heart. That moment was as short as a breath in the freezing cold, but it would stay with her forever. Later, many days later, when the snow had already begun to melt, she saw the same vixen again, standing on the hillside, looking at the house. But this time, there were already grown-up fox cubs beside her. They stood for a while, and then disappeared into the woods, and Ella knew she was part of their story, and they were part of hers. Sometimes true intimacy comes not from words, but from silent trust. Between man and wilderness, there is a gulf. But there are moments when that gulf disappears. When a mother fox brings her cubs into a human home, because she feels they will be rescued here. Ella McGregor, a lonely woman in the snowy wilderness, became for these small creatures warmth, protection, home, and she herself found in this rescue something long lost, a quiet sense of necessity, which perhaps, and is the real happiness. If this story touched your heart, put a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who lack warmth in this cold world. See you in the next video.